together too. You just mentioned that. It was really funny. I would go past a streetlight, either walking or driving, and the light would come on or go off. And it's funny, it did that for about like 10 years, maybe 15 years. And then all of a sudden, I didn't have that same thing. And it was really strange because, when me and my wife would go for a walk, a lot of times the lights would just go out when we come up to the street light. But if my wife was walking ahead of me, it didn't go out. So, I mean, it was just kind of weird. I always wondered why it was, actually, when I made the mistake and said it came on, they went out. And they're supposed to, if anything, come on when you go, through a car, through an intersection or what have you. It was the complete opposite. And I'm just wondering, I mean, if that is tied into anything strange. Because, again, Michael, back in the mid-'70s, when I came back, I worked for a while in North Carolina, and then when I came back, I was in New Mexico. And that was one of the very first experiences. That's what really triggered this whole thing off when I went into broadcasting, what got me going and doing talk shows. I had my first encounter of something I can't, and I still don't know what it was, but it was a bright light that lit up inside the car. It lit up all around the road. I thought I was getting pulled over by, a helicopter or something, because there was no speed limit in New Mexico that time. So, me and my wife and my GTO, we were probably doing 95, 100, 105. I don't know what it was. But when I pulled over, and I was talking to Peter Davenport about the same thing, and he said he's had a lot of reports, the same thing. I got out of the car. It was bright light for, maybe a couple of seconds. I didn't hear anything. I mean, I'm out in the middle of the desert. I don't hear, I was in the military. I know what helicopters sound like. I had my butt in enough of them, and I didn't hear anything, nothing, total quiet, just total dead. And then as bright as that light was, it was like gone instantly. It was like, woof, it was just gone.
Whoa.
So that
sounds like,
I don't know if that was a government thing, one of their, black ops, or maybe I had an encounter with the UFO, but that was enough right there. It triggered my whole brain into this paranormal lifestyle of wanting to know more and more and more.
Oh, I'll bet. That sounds like a typical Close Encounters of the Third Kind movie.
But but here's something really strange. I should get this really checked out. Back about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I was at because I have health issues, but it was not the health issues I have now. I went into the doctor and they did X-rays and whatever, and I'm sitting, waiting to go back in, for a follow-up, and the head nurse comes and sits down to me, and she goes, "You have this piece of metal in your lower part of your spine," and and then she says the doctor wants to talk to you about it, and I get into the doctor, and this is in Tacoma, and the doctor tells me that. He asked me if I ever had, he saw the scar because when I fractured my tailbone when I was in the military, and but this wasn't in the same area; it was in a different area, and it asked me if I had any surgery, in that location because he couldn't find any scar tissue like from doing the tailbone reconstruction. And I said, no. And, I never thought about it. But here's what is interesting. Till this day, okay, if I go into a courthouse, I go to an airport, right? I'm a big guy, right? My belt has to come off. My everything, every penny in my pocket has to come out. Anything that has a zipper on it has to come off. You know how hard it is when you're a big guy, you take your belt off? And let alone try, hold your pants up and walk through, let alone put it back on. But the whole thing is, I set off every freaking alarm, and I still do.
Well, Gary, there is an interesting phenomena that you're talking about here, and it does hook into this slider syndrome that we're talking about with Tim. The fact that there is a theory that when people are abducted encounters, their brainwaves are.
I hope we didn't lose you.
Famous.
Okay.
Did we lose him?
No, you're fading out there for a second there, Michael.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm still here. I can hear you fine.
Okay. Okay, you said there is this thing, the slider. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, where in reality it's possible that your brainwave was actually changed if you had a close encounter. That might not even be the system that you're going through airports. It might even be the brain patterns that you have now are doing that as well. Matter of fact, there is a theory out there that those TSA scanners that you walk through in airports are potentially looking for people with those strange brainwave patterns.
Oh, wow. Because, especially in Tacoma Superior Court, I had to go there quite a few times because one of my sons was in trouble. So, like, every, month I had to go there while he had his hearings. And, it happened every single time. Not just there. I mean, any place. Like, I go to the airport. And, I actually have been pulled into a room at the airport once. And stripped naked and had a glove put somewhere, and they're trying to figure out, what is this thing, And again, like I said, I did have surgery on my tailbone, but this is like about 5 inches above where the surgery was.
Yeah,
quite interesting.
I have never honestly even thought about this till tonight. I mean, I never put two to two together. If you wouldn't have mentioned about the lights and stuff, that was, I kind of tied that in my head with the lights, and then with the going through, the courts and all that stuff, looking for her, firearms and knives and stuff like that, setting alarms off.
Yes, exactly. Well, we can talk a lot about this at another time, I'm sure. As I do the interview.
Well, let me throw my 5 cents in there.
Yeah, please do. You're the guest.
One time I did run into made a turn going up my famous, and a light lit up. I mean, all around me, boom, from the ground up, extremely bright. I thought, well, must be firing up the old craft, but I didn't see where it really come from. But that's only hit me once, and then it was boom and done. But you get talking about going through airports, well, in 2004, I had a cervical spinal fusion of my cervical spines, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7. I got a bunch of titanium up there. They would adjust the machines. I don't have a problem at airports. And here you do with something interesting.
Not just the airports, Tim. I mean, like I said, I had to go to the Superior Court. And this was like a year I had to go for. Once a month with my son, I had to go to this little court thing. And every month, I mean, I was so... It got to the point, a shoelace belt is. Okay, I started wearing shoelace belts because, it didn't do any good. I still set the alarm off, but at least I didn't have to pull my frickin' belt off because I'm fat and try to put it on while everybody's laughing at me. But, the standpoint is it makes it just weird, Oh, God. Now I'm going to think about this all night because of Tim and Michael.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't be sorry. It's all about you tonight. But it makes me wonder, though, if people are walking around with implants in them or something and they don't even know it.
I think you're answering the question right there. It'd be suspicious. They stick them implants everywhere. You have a lot of it. I won't go completely into what some of the things I've heard, but like I say, some of them, they make them easy to get to, and some of them, they make them a little hard, but, it just, kind of about anywhere.
Well, in this case, I asked the doctor. I said, because he's a surgeon, and I asked him. I said, can whatever this is that time when he told me there was something there. I said, can we remove it? And he goes, no, I can't move it because there's scar tissue formed around it. And if he goes, and because where it is on your spine, he goes, if I try removing it, there's a good chance you'll be in a wheelchair. And, I just kind of like, and, I was younger then. So, I mean, I just kind of blew it off. But I don't know. Hey, Michael, have you run across people with implants?
Oh, yes, I have. Matter of fact, one of the things that we have in the UFOI team are these little, you can buy a little stud sensor at Home Depot. And if there's anything metallic under your skin, the stud sensor will light up like a Christmas tree as you get near it. Daryl Sims, the famous, actually, Daryl Sims and Dr.-Leir were kind of working together back in the old days, and Daryl Sims kind of has these little detectors that he sells as well, that really can, matter of fact, he even has these things, UV lights that you can use on a little flashlight that'll show up if you had what he calls casual alien contact, where there's actually colors on your skin that will show up, and it could be a handprint, a fingerprint, or something like that are strange. I have a feeling you're correct, both of you, that there are more people running around with potential implants than even know it. And the interesting thing from Dr. Leir's studies, I remember, was that this radio wave frequency that's being emitted by these things are what we call deep space communication waves that are very low hertz frequencies, but they will literally go forever as far as transmitting information. So who knows what they're for.
Well, maybe they're just basically looking at, like, Tim or anybody else that has an implant, all their thoughts, all their day-to-day emotions, what they do each day, what they think, what they feel, and they're monitoring that, just to get an idea what mankind is all about.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Gary, because the argument was in the old days that these were tracking devices, that they're trying to keep track of where the abductees are at a certain period of time in case they want to abduct them, which obviously does happen during a person's lifetime. But nowadays, I think you're correct in the fact that these things are actually monitoring our bodily systems and giving feedback to whoever is out there implanting them, so they know what our health is, what our potential problems are, even, like you said, our brain waves and what we're thinking and those kinds of things.
Well, maybe
it's very possible.
Maybe we're even broadcasting a video of everything you do and see and think.
I wouldn't disagree there. I mean, if they can do radio waves, they could create anything with that carrier, I would imagine, to monitor us. And one of the issues, or one of the theories, is they're monitoring certain people who are within this genetic line that they are interested in abducting. They're trying to keep track of these folks and find out and keep them potentially healthy. So one of the theories is that if you did get an implant removed, it's potential that your health would deteriorate because there was a reason why that implant was in your body, to typically keep you healthy, maybe, and they could tweak you if you were having problems.
That is a possibility. Hey, Tim, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Since you had your implant removed, have you got older? I'm sorry, it was a bad. It was a bad joke. I've got
a little older.
Yeah, okay.
It's been 18 years.
Yeah. Wow.
You guys are putting around there. I could give some specifics, but like I said, I really don't want to yet. I mean, I'm wanting to look a little more, but you're sniffing pretty hard. and